So that certain nameless person is desperately trying to do damage control for Aquaman 2 and Warner Brothers. Their new plan, either get the judge to dismiss the case outright on something the judge has already decided on, that probably won't work by the way, or extend the timeline for the trial, making sure that this thing, it passes up Aquaman 2's release date. That's right, they're trying to delay that nameless person's friends and witnesses. They're trying to delay too. Basically, they know the damage that they've done to this brand. They know how much more damage they'll do if that court case, it pops up right before it drops. You and I, we're going to talk about that today. Fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. Oh man, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. One thing before we get started, we have a new project coming up very, very soon. Link is in the top of our description. Check that out. More on that at the end of the video. Thank you in advance. So like I was saying at the beginning, that nameless person is doing their best to damage control for Warner Brothers, for Aquaman 2, for themselves and their career. See, they found that they can't stop this trial. They've tried over and over again to do so. So they're going to try the next best thing. They're going to try to mess with the timeline of this, getting it out of the way for their upcoming movie, because they figure that if they can do that right there, well, then they don't have to worry about the damage because they can already make bank. Interestingly, they aren't the only ones trying to slow this case's roll. You also have witnesses for that nameless person, ones that were supposed to communicate with JD months ago, filing items that would allow them to basically put off things until months later, trying to slow down this case because, again, damage control for movies, damage control for careers, and damage control for themselves too, which I'll talk about in a different video. Now, to really understand this desperate move, the damage control that nameless person is trying to do for Aquaman 2 and Warner, you have to understand the timeline for the movie. Here you have it pretty much explained. Principal photography, it kicks off at the end of June 2021. You have months added to that. How many months? Well, we're not really sure, but we do know this. We know that they plan to drop this movie holiday season 2022. Now, hilariously, that timeline right there was actually working out for that nameless person, for Aquaman 2, and for Warner Brothers. In fact, when you look at that setup, when you really scrutinize everything that was going on, get the old noggin jogging, it almost seems pre-planned, doesn't it? See, if you look at the original timeline for the case, I mean, that thing, it's a real kicker. Why? Because the trial, it was supposed to, and again, notice that key word there, supposed to kick off May 2021. The trial, it was going to start May 7th, 2021, and trials like this, they only last a few weeks. You're going to get a lot of headlines in that. There's going to be a lot of salacious ones at that, but the trial's going to end, you have a few weeks of buffer, and then boom, you start having all of the positive Aquaman 2 articles kick in. See, Warner Brothers, from what I understand too, they were planning a lot of damage control. Even if things didn't go that certain nameless person's way, they would have been out there, they would have been planning enough articles, and they were figuring by holiday season 2022, they could get everything under control. See, from what I've been able to gather from sources, when I say sources, by the way, I'm not talking about that mainstream media connotation. I'm talking about reliable people, trustworthy people, people that would know because they're in positions that would allow them to know. They say that there were a lot of sweet nothings being spoken from a certain nameless person's camp to that Warner Brother camp, essentially saying there's no way that this thing, it could ever hurt Aquaman 2. Then the unthinkable happened, something that really shook every player involved. You had the court case get moved. Now you have it going from a year plus off to April 11, 2022. You would have already had the thing filmed. You wouldn't have dropped it yet. So this, it would have dropped right in the middle. It would have dropped right in the middle of all the hyping. Yeah, this was one of the worst things that could happen for that nameless person, for Warner Brothers, and especially for Aquaman too. Now, anyone that has kept up with this case at all knows that that nameless person, they have gone out of their way to desperately, notice that word there, desperately try to shut this case down. In fact, they tried 3 brazen attempts, and this, it connects to the last one. So you had a shutdown because of venue. Basically, they wanted to call what they did free speech. Then they wanted to say, well, you know, I didn't say any of that stuff about JD. I wasn't trying to damage him. It was all about me. And then the third thing they wanted to try, they wanted to say that this stuff, it had already been decided in the UK. Now, the reason that I brought all of that up is because this right here, it connects directly to that third decision. And again, that third decision was that nameless person trying to argue that this case, it was already decided in the UK. All of that, it was laid out. Why are we doing this again? And remember, the judge actually came back and said, not only was this not decided there, but JD didn't actually get a fair trial at all. He couldn't take that nameless person to task, and they even said that the judge in the UK wouldn't allow JD to take that nameless person to task. That couldn't be abided either, so that nameless person is appealing. That's what this is. But again, I don't think that they think they'll win this. What I think is that this, it's part of a delay tactic because they're trying to salvage Aquaman too. Now, the real Laura B pulled all of this up, by the way, so props to her. I cannot say that enough. She does a great job out there. Definitely give her a follow on Twitter. But if you look at this, you have this entered on 8/30/2021. So you're talking about a filing right at the end of August. And what you have coming up, you have a hearing date that is scheduled almost for the middle of October. But leading up to that, we don't have any of this documentation yet, by the way. You have September the 9th. You have 15 pages that are filed. Then September the 29th, you're going to have 20 pages of opposition expected. And then on the 6th of October, you're going to have around 5 pages of reply. Now, for the hearing that's coming up, again, you'll have a hearing on this 10/12/2021. You can see when that's expected, how long that's expected for. Now, as Laura B says, and I agree with this fully, by the way, if that nameless person can't get this dismissed, and like I said, I don't even think they think that they can get this dismissed, she has to at least get it delayed beyond the Aquaman 2 release date. That's the plan behind all of these moves. That's going to be the strategy that you see a lot more of. Delay, delay, delay to minimize damage because, oh, the damages, they keep coming. But anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff. And as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. That link in the description, by the way, that is for our new comic book sign up coming up very, very soon. See, these companies, they think they can do anything. They think that no one can compete. No one can walk away. Well, you can walk away, back something else, and hopefully, well, you'll back our project. But anyway, let me know what you think. Again, thank you. I cannot say that enough. Sincerely, thank you. And I'm going to end with that. Thank you. See you soon.